Good morning. Let us begin quietly, without the clatter of remedies and the nervous reach for answers. Today, we are not adding another spiritual trick to our toolbox. We are laying the toolbox down. We are consenting to be taught by principle. In other words, we are shifting the center of gravity from the world of effects, symptoms, bills, headlines, irritations, to cause. If you catch only one sentence this hour, let it be this: turn from effects to cause. The question that brings us together is simple enough to speak and hard enough to live that most of us have rushed past it for years. How do I translate inner realization into outer sufficiency without chasing forms? Don't you know how quickly the mind runs patch this, correct that, argue here, bargain there, and yet the master gives no technique for chasing forms. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not hunted. Added, not wrestled. So our first act is not to meddle with the adding. Our first act is to seek the kingdom, which is another way of saying make conscious contact with cause. Now, I must say, to keep us honest in this room, there are moments when I can only confess, I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet. Never hesitate to say that. We are not here to pretend omniscience. These are not rules to enforce or formulas to memorize. These are principles, and a principle must take root in you before it bears. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. If it isn't flesh of your flesh yet, be content to be a learner. Even the apostle was told, my grace is sufficient for thee, not thy brilliance, not thy technique. Grace. Turn from effects to cause. We will say it and we will practice it. When a symptom presents itself, fear in the chest, an unpaid notice, an awkward silence at the table, do not hurry to hammer at the symptom. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. In the stillness, we are not trying to manufacture a better condition. We are acknowledging the presence of cause. And you may find that the moment you turn, the mind argues. Yes, but what about? Let it argue. You turn. What are effects? Shadows. Appearances. There's no matter as substance to heal or fix. What we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell is not a creation. It is a mental image of creation. We are dealing with God as the substance of all true form. Therefore, tampering with shadows never touches the light. When the light is on, shadows arrange themselves without your management. This is not passivity. It is the only activity that is principled. Make the contact, honor the cause, abide there until peace comes. You will hear me say, before we are through, money isn't supply. I is supply. I embody supply. But let's not run ahead. For now, take the stance. Say within yourself, perhaps without words at all, Father, I turn from the thing to thee. I do not wrestle the form. I consent to the cause. And wait. If nothing seems to happen, do not strain. Do not try to feel something. Sit under grace. The law came by Moses, rules, penalties, anxieties, but grace and truth come by Christ. We are moving out from law into grace, from effect into cause. So this is our quiet beginning. When you notice yourself reaching for a lever to pull, pause. Remember the one line we are practicing all hour. Turn from effects to cause. We will not fix symptoms today. We will refuse them the dignity of being our problem. We will learn the dignity of cause. And as we do, A new rhythm establishes itself peace first. Then, whatever outward form grace chooses to add. Now, we have to say a thing that at first will sound like we are taking away your last safety net. Money isn't supply. Let it land and let it trouble the habit that has been trained to count, to clutch, to calculate. Money is an effect. It is form. It is the shadow on the wall. The world has taught us to measure life by the pile of bills on the table and the line of digits on a screen. And yet, the kingdom of God is within you. If the kingdom is within, then the economy of the kingdom must be within. We are not dealing with externals. We are returning to cause. Supply is the invisible presence that I am. I is supply. I embody supply. Supply isn't external to me. Not the personal Joel, not the proud or frightened sense of me that walks around trying to get. The I that says, I am that I am. The I that breathed itself as your very life. That I is the fountain of sufficiency. In other words, supply is God appearing as whatever is needful in due season. And sometimes, yes, it will appear as dollar bills. But the dollars are not the supply. They are the appearing. When you keep your eye on balances and invoices, you are attending to shadows. Don't you know how that tightens the chest? You can feel the whole body enter a getter's crouch. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or wherewithal ye shall be clothed. Consider that the Master did not instruct us to improve our thinking about effects. He instructed us to take no thought. Seek the kingdom, make the contact, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added without your strain, without your bargaining. Now, I'm not asking you to grit your teeth and believe this. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. Let the principle take root the way a seed takes root in the dark, without your peeking every hour to see if it is working. Sit down in quiet. Close the ledger of the mind for 3 minutes. Turn from the figure on the bill to the eye within. Whisper if you like, or say nothing at all. Father, thou art my substance. Thou art the life, the law, the activity of all form. Then wait until even a thread of peace announces itself. That is the beginning of supply. The tree doesn't strain to bear. The root abides, and then the tree bears. I remember a month when the figures did not add, when notices gathered like storm clouds. I did what I am asking you to do now. I turned from the paper to the presence. I said within, I is supply. I embody supply. If you ask me, how will it come? Which channel? Which day? I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet. But the appearing always comes to the consciousness that has ceased to chase forms. In that case, it came as a right idea, the quiet nudge to make a call I had avoided, and out of it, as naturally as noon after morning, came the dollars to meet the day. But the dollars were not the miracle. The miracle was the peace that preceded them. My God shall supply all your need, says the apostle. Not some of it, not when you have figured it out, but all, and from within. As identity shifts from getter to beholder, anxiety loosens because there is nothing to get. You watch. You behold God as the substance of all true form, and the forms arrange themselves under grace. Let the root take hold. Let the I announce itself. Then, without fear and without hurry, watch as life adds what is needful, in the way it is needful, when it is needful. Let me show it to you the way nature preaches it all day long. Suppose you have an orange tree in the yard. When the branch is bare, you don't go into the kitchen, get a roll of tape, and fasten store-bought oranges to the limbs so the neighbors will think you're prosperous. You don't lecture the branch. You don't pull on the buds to hurry them. You don't stand out there at midnight trying to paste blossoms back on after the wind. You tend the root. You water. You keep the soil open. You trust the quiet law moving up through bark and cambium as sap. Then, in season, the tree bears. Oranges don't chase oranges. Fruit does not run after fruit. Fruit appears because the invisible life is abiding and fulfilling itself. You smile at a tree heavy with oranges, but you are not smiling at piles of round, orange-colored objects only. You are smiling because you know the real activity, unseen, relentless, faithful, is at the root. If you could tear an orange apart and find supply, you'd be disappointed. You'd find juice and cells and light converted into sweetness, but the life is not in your hand. It is forever flowing from the invisible. In other words, the oranges are appearances of an unseen substance, the visible form of an invisible grace. You can count and weigh the fruit. You cannot corner the life. Translate the parable. The realized I is your root. I is supply. I embody supply. The sap is grace. The law of God fulfilling itself without your fret.
Dollar bills, opportunities, contracts, invitations, even a cancellation that frees your day for the right appointment, these are fruit.
You handle fruit with thankfulness and with a loose hand, but you do not confuse fruit for life. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. Abide in me, and ye shall bear much fruit. There is the whole economy of the kingdom in a sentence. Abide, do not achieve. Root, do not tape.
Now, the branch doesn't tremble at midnight wondering whether June will forget to come. The tree does not look across the fence, see the neighbor's early crop, and panic its sap upward.
It rests in its root. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither in his season. No hurry-up harvest, no spiritual forcing. So when the mind says, but I need it by Tuesday, smile gently the way you smile at a child who thinks you can make the sun rise faster. You care for the root. The sequence will care for itself. I have watched students, good, sincere students, try to paste metaphysical oranges on their branches. Affirmations, frantic confessions, bargaining prayers, and the neighbors are not fooled, and neither is the branch. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. Sit down in quiet and sink your awareness like roots into the presence. Father, thou art my life. Thou art the substance, law, and activity of all true form. Then be still long enough for a thread of peace to announce itself. That tiny piece is the first blossom. Don't tug it open. Let it be. If you ask me, how many oranges will this year bring? Will they be dollars, or new ideas, or a door quietly opening where there was only wall? I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet, but I know the principle, and you are left with the principle. Fruit follows root. Attend the root of realization, the fruit of provision follows. We are not managing effects. We are consenting to cause. And as you consent, you will notice that panic dissolves not because conditions have changed yet, but because identity has changed from getter to beholder, from anxious branch to rooted life. So the next time you catch yourself leaning out over the fence line of another person's orchard, envying their fruit, come back home to your tree, sink down, abide, smile at the oranges already ordained in the unseen. Do what is yours to do outwardly. Yes, keep the soil. Keep the discipline of honesty. Show up where you are led, but do not tape fruit. Care for the root, and watch provision ripen without strain. Peace first, then of itself the fruit. Now let us come down to the plane of it. the metaphysics under the parable. What you and I handle all day long, what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell is not creation. It is a mental picture of creation. The light of God is forever expressing itself as true form, but by the time it comes through our senses, it appears as images, and we mistake the image for the thing itself. In other words, we stroke the picture on the wall and think we have touched the subject. We fold up a dollar and think we have folded up life. There is no life in ink and paper. There is no substance in a numeral on a screen. The substance is invisible. God is the substance. In him we live and move and have our being. Not in matter, not in law, external to God, but in God as our very being. There's no matter in the sense of a self-existing stuff out here acting on us or supporting us. There is no material law upholding you. There is God as law, God as substance, God as activity fulfilling itself as right form. By him all things consist, not by the seesaw of luck or the teeth of fear. When you feel the old tightening that says, gravity is against me, markets are against me, time is against me, catch it. That is the mind worshiping a picture, trembling before an image its own senses have produced. The law came by Moses, measure for measure, fear for fear, but grace and truth come by Christ, which is the dawning realization that spirit alone is substance and law, and that the forms are the added things, not the cause. Dollars are symbols, that is all. Pictures of trust, service, circulation. If you take a dollar apart, you do not find supply in there. You find cotton, linen, ink, an emblem, a number. The life is not in the dollar. The life that appears as the dollar is the invisible I. And that is why one man can have a room full of money and no life in it, fear at the windows, poverty at the table, while another with 2 bills in his pocket walks in sufficiency. The one worships the image, the other touches the substance. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, not faith in outcomes, but the living awareness of God as the ground of all being. Substance is spirit. The dollar is a photograph of an arrangement called exchange. Be grateful for the picture when it comes, but do not bow to it. Treat forms as footprints of an invisible presence, not as your good. Imagine a traveler passing by your house in the snow. You see the prints. Do you run around collecting them in boxes? No. You lift your eyes and greet the one whose prints they are. So it is with contracts, positions, invitations, banknotes, reports. These are the prints left by the passing of the presence through your affairs. If you chase footprints, you lose the traveler. If you turn to the traveler, the prints appear of themselves wherever you have business to do. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, the living presence, and all these things shall be added unto you, added like footprints after a walk, inevitable to the walking. Does this mean we despise forms? No. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. Keep honest books. Pay your bills. Sign your name. Sweep your floor. But render unto God the things that are God's, your trust, your attention, your identity, your rest. Use forms responsibly while refusing to worship or fear them. Handle them with a light hand, a courteous hand, as one would handle the wrapping on a gift, while never confusing the paper with the love that sent it. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Everything that is true in your day is God expressed. Everything that frightens you is a picture misread. So when a form threatens, do not fight the picture. Turn, be still, and know, Father, thou art the substance, law, and activity of all true form in this very moment. I need not cling to an image. I need only abide and wait for that thread of peace that says the substance has been acknowledged. Then, without your strain, forms will align with their source as naturally as water finds its level. If a certain channel closes, do not pound on it. Footprints don't walk backward to please a collector. The traveler goes on, and new prints appear where your path is truly laid. This is the principle, and you are left with the principle. All true form is God expressed. What you and I handle are appearances. Let the appearance be what it is, a useful, temporary picture while you rest in the eye that is life itself. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. Practice seeing through the picture to the presence. In that seeing, worship ends, fear ends, and sufficiency, already established in God, begins to show itself in whatever picture serves the day sometimes, yes, as dollars and always as peace. Now I must give you a phrase that taken wrongly offends good taste and taken rightly frees you from fear. God appearing as dollar bills. Why say it so bluntly? To break the spell of idolatry. The mind has been hypnotized to bow to paper and ink as if they had life in themselves. This phrase puts the life back where it belongs in God, in the eye within, and reduces the bill to its rightful place. An appearance, a footprint, a wrapper. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord. If the substance is God, then dollars, when they come, are God appearing as dollar bills, not God confined in them, not God earned by them, God appearing through them or around them or without them at all as sufficiency. Use the words as a training bell, not as a slogan to flash at the cashier. When the old counting habit starts, when the fingers itch for the calculator and the heart falls into the bottom of the stomach, let the phrase ring and turn you. God appearing as dollar bills. In other words, turn from effects to cause, from counting to contacting, from the visible to the invisible. Take no thought. Seek ye first the kingdom. The phrase is not permission to chase effects. It is a cue to pivot inward to the indwelling I. I is supply. I embody supply. If there is to be an appearing, it will be the overflow of contact. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. Let me give you a little picture from a Tuesday afternoon. Notices on the desk. A promise I had made to pay by Friday. The mind had a dozen bright ideas, each one louder than the last. I pushed the papers aside, closed the door, and turned. Father, thou art the substance, law, and activity of all true form in this very instant. I am not looking to men or methods. I am looking to I. It took, I couldn't tell you, 3-4 minutes until there was that thread of peace, the kind you can't manufacture. I stayed with it, not asking for money, not bargaining. I stayed until the peace said, enough. Then I went on with my day. Late that afternoon, the post brought a small check, a refund on an overpayment I did not know I had made, and a note from a friend. I need someone to cover a class tonight. Can you come? I hadn't prayed for dollars. I had not tried to bend the person to my need. I had recognized presence. God appeared as dollar bills because the occasion of the day required bills. Another day, God appears as an idea, as a yes, as a no, as a cancellation that is actually a rescue. The appearing varies. The appearing one is the same. Keep the lens clean. Never confuse the appearing with the appearing one. Every good and perfect gift is from above. It cometh down, says Scripture, not from your cleverness, not from another's pocket coerced by your thought. Under grace, we are not manipulating persons or outcomes. We abide as transparency for God's appearing. That's all. We render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's: honest work, fair exchange, careful signatures, but we do not render our worship to Caesar's image. Our worship belongs to God. And that's why this phrase must be redeemed from misuse. If you take it as license to go after money with metaphysical tape, you are back to pasting oranges. If you take it as permission to rest in cause, then when a dollar bill appears, you will see through it to the love that sent it, and you will neither hoard it nor fear its going. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, not to tease you with it. If you ask me, will it come as a raise, as a refund, as a new client? I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet. We aren't in the channels business. We are in the contact business. Our task is the inner consent. Be still and know. Make the contact. Let the peace mark the place where grace has touched the day. Then walk out, simple and honest, doing the next right thing. My God shall supply all your need. My cup runneth over, not by squeeze, not by scheme, but by the quiet law of spirit fulfilling itself. So hold the phrase rightly. God appearing as dollar bills. Let it turn your eyes from the picture to the presence. Let it end the worship of effects. Let it heal panic. And when the bills come, thank them the way you thank the footprint that assures you the traveler has passed this way. Do not collect the prints in boxes. Lift your eyes to the one who leaves them and move on with him. In that companionship, forms will serve you without your chasing them, because you have ceased to mistake them for God. There is a law that runs this world the way a schoolyard runs itself, when the teacher steps out, policed by fear, bribed by reward, measured by ledger. Sow and reap, pay or be punished, accumulate or be ashamed. That is what I call cosmic law. It is not evil. It is merely impersonal causation, operating in the realm of appearances. The law came by Moses, says Scripture, measure for measure, tooth for tooth, necessary to a consciousness that believes itself separate, needing fences to keep its own mind from wandering. But grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. My kingdom is not of this world. In other words, there is another jurisdiction, a higher government, under which penalties lose their teeth because fear loses its throne. You are only under cosmic law until you achieve the realization of grace. Take that slowly. I do not mean you become lawless. I do not mean you escape responsibility. I mean the motive power of your life, the air you breathe, changes from fear to love, from getting to beholding, from self-defense to oneness. Perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. The torment is the penalty attached to the belief in separation, lack, blame, sentence, deserving and undeserving. When you and I make conscious contact with cause, we come under grace. The same act that would have bound us under fear is met with a different outcome under grace, because the actor is not the same man. He is a new creature, born of spirit. And the reaction of the universe differs to the degree of realization. I have watched this many times. A young bank teller, anxious, careless, landed himself short at the close of day. Under law, there was no ambiguity. Punishment, disgrace, a record that would haunt him. He came frightened, asking me to get him out of it. I said, we are not pleading with deity for a favor. We are going to stand in oneness and let grace declare its own jurisdiction. We sat in silence. Father, thou art the life, law, an activity of all true form. There is no separate self to fear or to defend. There is only I. We stayed until a clean peace took the room. Then he went, told the truth to his superior, accepted to make restitution. The strange thing, strange only to cosmic law, was this. The sentence expected did not fall. The man over him said, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I believe you. We'll make a plan. Grace did not erase responsibility. It annulled the penalty of fear and brought forth a remedial justice that healed the boy instead of branding him. And a woman with a bundle of back taxes and penalties that had grown like ice on a roof until every night she heard them cracking. We did not bargain with a God to lift a fee. We turned, Father, thou art the substance of all true form. Thou art the government of my affairs. In a few days, an error in assessment surfaced. The penalties were reduced to a fraction, and a schedule was offered she could walk without dread. On another day, it isn't the state that is the creditor, but the mind itself, exacting interest on an old failure. Under law, it will collect forever. Under grace, I have heard the voice say, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. And there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. The inner sentence dissolves. The fetters fall. And from that freedom a man returns, the tool he stole, makes the apology he avoided, pays what he can pay cleanly, not to bribe God, but because integrity has become natural. Do you see the pattern? We are not pleading, bargaining, or hypnotizing persons. We are not trying to bend a judge, a clerk, a market, a cell to our wish. We are recognizing a fact. In the realization of oneness, the fear-governed economy of penalty and lack loses jurisdiction. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty is not license. It is right action without the lash of dread. Grace sets aside the sentence imposed by cosmic law to the degree that grace is realized, and it supplies the wisdom and strength for the clean next step. When the Master said, the law came by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ, he was not inviting us to cleverness. He was inviting us to a state where the love nature of God fulfills the law in us without fear. Practically, this means less self-condemnation and more straight action. You will pay your bills with a light heart. You will make amends without rehearsing your shame. You will keep your word, not to avoid a whipping, but because the word is holy in you. You will stop scaring yourself into virtue. Stop it. Turn. Be still. And know. Stand in the eye that you are. Then step out under grace. The penalties that once drove you will find no handle in you, and the forms that belong to this new freedom provisions, pardons, pathways, will appear as needed. The law will be fulfilled, not by your strain, but by the life of God living itself in you and through you. That is how sentences lose power. That is how lack loses voice, not by evasion, not by denial, but by the quiet pivot to cause, where grace is the only government. Because this must be lived or it is nothing, let me give you the simple turn. It is not a ritual to bribe God. It is a brief, repeatable consent. 3 minutes, not to get something, but to come home to cause. If you ask me how many times a day, I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me as a number. But the principle is this. Whenever fear starts its arithmetic, you turn quietly, briefly, honestly. Minute 1 is stillness. Put the paper down. Close the screen. Turn from the face of the bill. the letter, the clock. Sit, or if you are in the street, stand inside yourself for 60 honest seconds. Be still and know that I am God. Whisper if a whisper helps. Father, I am here. I release effects. I am not chasing fruit. I will not tape oranges to my branch. I let the pictures be pictures without bowing to them. Let your hands go soft. Let your jaw unhook. Let the breath be unhurried, like a shy animal finding it is safe. You are not producing silence. You are consenting to it. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Minute 2 is recognition. This is the root drinking. Say within gently, without push, Father, Thou art my substance, law, and activity. I is supply. I embody supply. No effect is my good. The dollar is not my life. The invitation is not my identity. The cancellation is not my loss. I is supply. I, the I that is God being itself as me. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. If there is only a thread of peace, take the thread and don't tug on it. If there is no word, good words are effects too. We are consenting to cause. We are recognizing the vine rather than counting branches. Abide. For in him we live and move and have our being. Leave the sentences that accuse you to their own silence. Let the sap move. Minute 3 is listening. Not for a program to fix the world, not for a 10-step plan, but for a wordless awareness or a simple clean step. My sheep hear my voice. Sometimes the voice is just the felt rightness, a light on one square of the path. Take only that step. Make the one call. Send the one note. Walk to the kitchen and wash the dish, because that is the step lit at your feet. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, not leaps, steps. Sufficient unto the day is the step thereof. If nothing actionable rises, then your action is to carry the peace into the next task on your calendar, doing it without the crouch of getting. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, but render unto God your attention, your rest, your identity. You can do this in a chair before breakfast, in your car before the appointment, in a hallway between meetings. And if you find yourself too scattered to come to stillness, don't perform heroics alone. Ask a seasoned friend, a practitioner, a fellow student, to stand by with you for 3 minutes. Humility invites grace. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Tell them plainly, stand by with me. Do not ask them to affirm outcomes. Ask them to know I with you, to know that God is the substance and law of this very moment. Sometimes another consciousness holding stillness while you wobble is the very mercy that lets the root drink. This is the procedure. It doesn't move God. It lets God move you. It is not a strain for results. It is a turning to cause. You are left with a principle. Peace first, then the next clean step. Practice it without drama, without stopwatch religion, without reporting to yourself afterward as if you were your own supervisor. Just turn, recognize, consent, listen, step. Do this again and again until it is the habit of your day, the way you reach for the light switch in a dark room. Then notice, quietly, without surprise, that forms begin to arrange themselves under grace, sometimes as dollar bills, sometimes as reprieves, sometimes as bright ideas that arrive like birds alighting and you meet them without clutching because your good is not in them. Your good is the I that forever is, and your 3 minutes simply made room for it to appear as what is needful. Let's put this where it lives on a Thursday, on a sidewalk, with a phone buzzing in your pocket. 3 scenes, same pivot, piece first, then the next clean step. First scene, a bill with Friday stamped on it in red. The mind leaps to arithmetic, to a dozen little escapes dressed up as strategies. And before you make the first excuse or the first frantic call, you turn, put the paper down, be still, and know, Father, thou art the substance, law, and activity of all true form. In this very moment, I is supply. I embody supply. No effect is my good. Wait, not for a miracle to spare your responsibility, but for the thread of peace that says you've shifted jurisdictions from fear to grace. Then act in the light you have. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Call honestly. State your intention to pay. Ask for a schedule you can keep with integrity. Offer service if that is fitting an extra task. A way to bring value instead of pleading. Do the next clean step. Often enough to become your quiet expectation, some channel loosens. A forgotten refund appears. A small job arrives. A fee is reduced fairly, or a due date adjusts without drama. God appearing as dollar bills because the occasion required bills. But even before the 4 moves, you have moved from panic to poise, and that alone is the first provision. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. You have ceased using truth to escape action. You are using truth to purify action. Second scene, the door you counted on closes, a roll withdrawn. An email, we've gone another direction. The self you were building topples like a cardboard city in the wind. Don't gather the pieces. Sit, turn, not long, just long enough for the root to drink. Father, thou art my life. Thou art the way of my unfoldment. My good is not in the title, not in the company's letterhead. I is supply. I embody supply. Now listen, perhaps a name surfaces a colleague you had forgotten. Perhaps an idea arrives like a sparrow, simple and unshowy. Offer your help to this small firm, write the 1-page outline, fix the portfolio quietly, rest for 2 weeks, and study. My sheep hear my voice. Take only the step lit at your feet. Stop forcing the old door. If the traveler has turned up the street, fresh footprints will appear where you actually belong, and you will notice, if you're paying attention, that the timing is unforced. A conversation lands the day you're ready to speak truthfully. A new path accepts you without audition because, unknown to you, the seed was planted last season. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added as by grace, not wrestled into being. Third scene, a loved one, pale and shaking in the night, or a call from the clinic with words that chill. We do not use truth to deny care. We refuse panic its throne, so that care can be clear. Be still and know, right there by the bed, in the car, on the way, on the bench, in the corridor. Father, thou art life. Thou art the substance, law, and activity of all true form in this very body, in this very breath. Perfect love casteth out fear. I will not worship the picture. I will behold the presence. Now move as love would move. Call the doctor. Follow the instructions you are given. Notice that your hands become steady, your voice quiet, your eyes kind. You are becoming a non-reactive presence of God's love in the room, and that alone shifts outcomes. Nurses hear what they need to hear. The right specialist appears. A test clarifies what guesswork would have muddled. And sometimes, yes, the impossible eases as if a string were cut. I am the Lord that healeth thee. Healing may come as relief, as right treatment, as strength to walk a long road without despair. You are not managing effects. You are consenting to cause, and cause directs clean action. Through all three, the thread is the same. We stop using truth to escape. We let truth end fear so we can act. We notice the felt shift, less push, more aptness of timing, an ease that is not laziness, but rightness. Under cosmic law, you were driven. Under grace, you are led. Don't try, live it. Exemplify it. Peace first, then the next clean step. And as you walk that way, forms answer to the one who sent you, sometimes as dollar bills, sometimes as open doors, sometimes as a hand steady on another's forehead, and you remain poised because your good is never in the form. Your good is the eye that forever is, appearing as what is needful in its season. There is a rhythm to life under grace that does not consult our calendar. Contact conceives. Forms are born in season. The kingdom of God is as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and the seed should spring and grow up. He knoweth not how. You and I know the feel of conception, the quiet click inside when peace settles and a rightness takes root. Today's stillness may bear fruit in 3 hours, 3 days, or 3 years. It is the same principle working at different depths and lengths. In other words, you are not the midwife of timing. Your work is contact. My times are in thy hand. Differentiate in yourself between daily bread and life direction. Give us this day our daily bread. Bread is for today, fair, favor. A phone call that belongs to Thursday at 2:10. God appearing as dollar bills because today required bills. Life direction is not bread. It is a birth. It moves from conception to gestation to labor to daylight. You cannot harvest in the season of sowing without bruising the field. For bread, the answer often appears as you pivot, an adjustment, a provision, a step. For direction, the pivot plants the seed, and then you tend the root through seasons. In due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Don't confuse the two, or you will either starve today waiting for your life's work to pay the light bill, or you will force a calling to perform like a paycheck and crush it. Now this I don't know yet. Live it honestly, without panic. When someone asks, when will this unfold? Next month? Next quarter? I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet. And that isn't evasion. That is fidelity to the way grace works. The moment you make conscious contact, something is conceived. From then on, your task is not to pry the bud open. It is to keep the soil moist. Stay faithful to the 3-minute turn. Keep your hands in honest work. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and render unto God your attention and trust. The sap is moving, even when the branch looks bare. Keep record of your quiet evidences, not for boasting, not to create a shrine to outcomes, but to train your remembrance. Forget not all his benefits. A small notebook, a line in the margin, a bill adjusted without your pleading, a stranger's word that confirmed the direction, a peace that returned every morning for a week without a visible cause. Do not sell the story before it is born. Let testimony arise naturally in its due time. I once sat in a rented room, scribbling what felt like scraps of light. I begged that they not be printed. I was ashamed of them. Years later, those scraps had become flesh, walking into rooms where people were prepared to hear them. Conception in a quiet room, birth in a season I could not have managed. God does the growing. Patience is not passivity. Patience is practice. It is refusing to make a god of the clock. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. That sounds like a riddle until you live it. It tarries to your fear. It does not tarry to grace. Timing belongs to the life within the seed, not to the hand above the soil. Seed time and harvest shall not cease. Your interruptions, your calendar blocks, your clever accelerators, these are not the laws by which spirit times a birth. Be still and know, then move when the inner nudge says move, and rest when it says rest. He maketh me to lie down. He leadeth me beside still waters. Lead and lie down are both obedience. So when the mind asks, where is my partner, my vocation, my healing, answer it kindly. Peace first, then the next clean step. Today's bread will appear for today. The longer arc is already alive within you. Tend the root. If a date comes, good, walk to it. If it shifts, good, walk with it. Stop counting gestation weeks like a foreman. This is not a factory. This is God expressing as your life. I is supply. I embody supply. My work is contact, not calendar control. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Wait as one who is conceived, not as one who begs at a locked door. Keep your little book of evidences. Keep your appointments with stillness. Keep your hands clean in today's tasks. And in due season, without your strain, the invisible I will stand up in form, sometimes as dollar bills, sometimes as a door that was never on your map, and you will recognize your own child, born of God, because the peace you felt at conception will be the breath you feel in its arms. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. Now we come to the place where many of us grow impatient. We taste a little peace and immediately want to publish a cookbook. Don't. There's no way of teaching anything you do not exemplify to some degree. And I do not say that to shame you. I say it to spare you and those who listen. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. In other words, a beautifully stated outline without embodiment becomes a weight on your own neck and a confusion to the hearer. If it hasn't become flesh of your flesh and bone of your bone, let it ripen. Don't try. Live it. Exemplify it. When I first began to glimpse that money isn't supply, that I is supply, I embody supply, I could not explain it in a way that satisfied even me. I was tempted to fill the gap with cleverness. Instead, I let the silence be my teacher and allowed small demonstrations to write the chapter in my own consciousness. A bill met without bargaining. A task offered that appeared right on time. These were my pages before any book was bound. If you cannot yet articulate, don't try to manufacture words. Live it until the words are not your invention, but the overflow of realization. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Flow is not performance. It is overflow. Humility is your shelter. Gladly say, I don't know. That hasn't unfolded to me yet. Most people are starving not for information, but for reality. When you refuse to pretend omniscience, you invite the only teacher that never errs. Call no man your master upon the earth, for one is your master, even Christ. Point him to the principle. Hand them a page. Sit with them in the 3 minutes. Let them read for themselves. Truth is never injured by waiting, but many a student has been injured by a premature sermon. Stop seeking external validation. The moment you crave an audience, you have slipped under cosmic law, again measuring, comparing, fearing, and the oil in your lamp thins. Remember the 10 virgins. 5 had oil and 5 did not. You cannot borrow oil at midnight. Oil is realization, your secret history with God. Keep your appointments with stillness. Keep your hands in honest work. Keep your tongue from boasting. When the bridegroom comes, when the hour to speak arrives, the flame will rise without your pump or pose. By their fruits ye shall know them. Fruit, not fireworks. Consent to be an instrument, not an expert. Instrument means transparency. Expert means pressure. Instruments do not strain to make music. They stay tuned. Your tuning is your life in God. Your authority will never be in your name, your resume, or your grasp of phrases. It will be in the light that quietly rests on your words, because you have paid with your life to say them. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. Give only what you have. If all you have is a thread of peace, give the thread gently, honestly, and refuse to embroider it with promises you cannot keep. I have turned students away who wanted to teach next Tuesday what graced them only last Thursday, not because I wished to withhold a stage, but because I wanted them safe under grace. Learn to let your demonstrations stack up in the dark like loaves on a cooling board. After a season, you will find that your speech comes unhurried, your counsel brief, your presence weighty without heaviness, and people will say, "Something in me rested as you spoke," even when your grammar stumbled. That is the authority of grace. Feed my sheep, the master said. He did not say, entertain my sheep, nor impress my sheep. Feeding is simple fare given from a full cupboard. Fill the cupboard first, day by day, until you cannot help but share. When you speak, let it be the bread that has fed you, not a recipe you copied from someone else's wall. Then teaching ceases to be a task performed under pressure and becomes an appearing of God, sometimes as a word, sometimes as a silence, sometimes as a hand on a shoulder, and you will know by the peace in you that the source did the work. You are left with the principle. Live it. Exemplify it. And when the hour to teach arrives, you will find you are not straining to say something. Something true is saying you. So then how do we walk out of this room? Quietly, simply, under grace. You will go to your desk, to your sink, to your phone, and you will do what belongs to today. Make the call, send the invoice, change the dressing, fold the shirt, but do not grant effects any power. Let dollars, diagnoses, and doors be what they are, appearances of one cause. They are not gods to be courted, nor foes to be cursed. They are servants that rise and fall at the bidding of the eye. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, note the word, not wrung from the world, added under grace. Identity first. Before you sign your name, remember your name. You are not a needy mortal pleading at the back door of a reluctant universe. You are the child of God, joint heir with Christ. If that sentence feels too large for your mouth, whisper it anyway and let it grow into you. Joint heir means the life of God is your life, the wisdom of God is your wisdom, the substance of God is your substance. Money isn't supply. I is supply. I embody supply. In other words, your good is never outside. It is forever within, unfolding outwardly as right ideas, right timing, right forms. Yes, sometimes as dollar bills, because Caesar wants bills. Render to Caesar with a steady hand, but render unto God your faith, your attention, your rest. Walk responsibly without returning to fear. You will pay what is yours to pay. You will speak what is yours to speak. You will move where love moves you. But you will not tremble before effects, as if they were sovereign. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom does not descend because you panic. It appears because you abide. Abide in I, and let I abide in you. Then the same actions, emails, contracts, treatments become transparent. They cease to be your saviors. They become the ways God appears today. And when a form arrives, receive it without bowing. When a form departs, release it without bitterness. Blessed be the name of the Lord. What you hold is not the form. What holds you is the life. My grace is sufficient for thee. Sufficient, not dramatic, not always ahead of schedule, but enough for the step that is lit. The steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord. Notice steps, not leaps induced by anxiety. Steps that match the measure of peace in you. If you wonder whether this touch of grace will fade, hear me. Once grace has made contact, no one returns to quite the old state of consciousness. You may forget for an hour, you may wobble for a day, but the floor has lifted under your feet. A man cannot unknow a sunrise. That is your assurance. Hold to it gently. Do not try to recapture an experience. Live in the principle that gave it. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Always means right here at your actual kitchen table, your actual ledger, your actual hallway conversation. There is no world place where I is absent. So this is your send-off. Stop fixing effects. Turn often, briefly, to cause. Be still. Recognize. Consent. Listen. Take the next clean step. As you do, watch God appear unforced, first as peace, then as wisdom, then as ordered steps, and yes, when the occasion requires it, as dollar bills, as open doors, as competent care, as a line of print that arrives exactly on time. Do not chase these. Let them be added. Let them be the fruit of a root you have tended. You are left with a principle. Live it. Exemplify it. Walk out under grace. Handle forms with a light touch and a faithful heart. Rest in the indwelling I as you act, and let appearances arrange themselves beneath the government of love. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And in that quiet strength go, child of God. Joint heir, carrying nothing, lacking nothing, letting the invisible make itself visible in due season.